The determinants of demand are those variables, those factors which cause a change in demand. These are the variables which cause the demand curve to shift. For example, a movement from D0 to D1 would be an increase in demand. Quantity demanded is higher at every price. A movement from D0 to D2 would illustrate a decrease in demand at every price. Quantity demanded is lower. One of the very important determinants of demand would be the number of buyers. Typically, an increase in the number of buyers, the number of consumers in a market, will cause an increase in the demand for a good. Conversely, a decrease in the number of consumers will decrease the demand for goods. This can take place through two mechanisms. One is what I call the population or demographic effect. So as more people move into an area, we would expect the demand for certain goods, particularly necessity goods like food and housing, to increase. We may also see similar changes in demographics as a population ages. As the population becomes older, we would expect to see an increase in the demand for healthcare goods. So population and demographic changes can cause increases or decreases in demand. Similarly, we may see changes in market share. So for example, suppose we have a small town that has a McDonald's and a new restaurant, Burger King, moves into town. We would expect to see McDonald's lose market share as consumers move from McDonald's to the new Burger King. We would expect to see the demand for Big Macs decreasing. This would be a reflection of a change in market share. So two mechanisms through which the number of buyers can increase or decrease demand. Tastes and preferences. This is a variable that is not easily measured. However, we know that as consumers perceive a good as becoming higher in quality or more fashionable, more trendy, more healthful, or more desirable in any way, that demand will increase. And conversely, as consumers perceive falling quality or displeasing appearance, diminished healthfulness, demand will decrease. Very often, tastes and preferences are impacted by advertising, by good news, bad news, word of mouth, things of this nature. And then expectations, particularly expectations of prices. So if consumers expect the price of a good to rise in the future, consumers will want to buy the good in the current period in order to take advantage of the lower price. So demand will rise in the current period. If prices are expected to fall in the future, then some consumers will postpone purchases and demand in the current period will fall. Notice we're talking here about expectation of future prices, not the current price. Change in the current price results in a movement along the demand curve, not a change in the demand. So a little wrap up. We've examined 5 different determinants of demand: price of related goods, income. Very often in economics, we use the letter Y to represent income. This is particularly true in macroeconomics. Number of buyers, N, tastes and preferences, T, and expectations. This forms the acronym PYNTE, P-Y-N-T-E. This may help us remember the 5 determinants of demand.